the history of melodies presented by music. Closer. Can you comment on something I've heard over the years about the one song, "A Mighty Fortress Is Our God"? I understand the lyrics originated out of a tavern in Germany.
Yes.
The song came out of a tavern in Germany, and they did just what you did, Contra Patria,
Yes.
to make it more presentable. Could you comment on that a little bit?
Yes. I think I have it here. Do I? Yes. Okay. You can find this in Google. It's not difficult to find. So, Martin Luther, he was a great theologian beside a great musician, great composer. So, he was absolutely convinced of the fact that Gregorian chant was not the best vehicle to convey the Christian message because it lost the center, which was Soli Jesus. Thank you. Right? So, first of all, it was in Latin, so nobody will understand except the priest. Second, it didn't have a pattern, a rhythmical pattern. Gregorian chant, so. Why? Because musicians, they didn't want, which is theologians, they didn't want the body to participate. So it didn't have a rhythmical pattern. If you think about how God created you and I and the body, is with patterns. Tap, tap, linking, right? So there is syncopation even in our nature. And we have rhythm when we walk, when we talk, when we breathe, blood, everything has rhythm. So we are a very complex rhythmic system. And Martin Luther understood that we are created on God's image, and the music has to portray that. And that was neglected or rejected in Gregorian chant. I could go on and on because this is a really great question, but basically the Gregorian chant ideology is not based on the Bible, but on Greek philosophy, dualism. So mind is good, spirit is good, body is evil. So my body cannot participate in my worship, so I cannot move my body when I worship. Does it sound familiar to you?
Oh yeah.
This is Middle Ages Greek philosophy. How much of that is still going on somewhere in the back of our minds, isn't it? So Martin Luther, he understood that, and then he came with one hymn, Mighty Fortress, which is very rhythmical. And if you can see, here, the music notation is not the same that we use today, but still, this is shorter and this is long, so it will be ba bum 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 ba bum ba bum ba bum bum ba bum ba bum. That's the rhythm. So let me play it for you real quick. So it's very energetic and it's based on. I'm sorry, this will be maybe this will be kind of disruptive, but it's based on German dances of the Middle Ages. That is why they wanted to kill him, honestly, because this sounded so profane to their ears. That's how it sounded like. So today we have this hymn. Because it's a lot more square now. And it's not because we didn't like the rhythm. Actually, the transformation came because Lutheran churches became larger and larger, and Protestant churches in general. So this was too syncopated and too fast to follow. And then little by little, we tend to sing slower and slower, and that is how we sing now. But in the original, Martin Luther was trying to capture the original idea of the Psalms, because this is based on a Psalm, Psalm 8. Yeah? So it's basically, that was the idea. Yes, there's another hand.
I think it was this morning or last night, I don't remember, when you mentioned that music cannot make you do something. Is that correct? Did I quote you right?
Yes.
Okay. So, but nowadays we see that there are a lot of things that affect the way we think, dress, our behavior. So to say that it cannot make you, maybe it can influence you towards, like if you see a person that likes metallic music, usually dressed up in black, they have the rings and all those things. So there is an influence in music and the rhythm and stuff like that. But so how can you? How can you decide whether it is proper or not, and that it's going to influence you towards what is heavenly and what's godly? Because we see that video games and teaching kids to kill, and we hear music that talk about that. And I know that our church we're not, but the rhythm does have an influence, or doesn't have an influence. How do we play that?
Thank you for your question. I think it's a very important question. And if I express myself and I gave the impression that, well, you paraphrase, music cannot make you do something to a certain extent, I would like to be more concise. Music cannot make you make moral decisions, right? For example, I was given the example of drinking alcohol or getting on drugs, doing those things is your moral decision. Now, music has a big influence. You have kids, and you know that you will play some music and they will react differently. They will start jumping and around, and music is making them do that, right? So music can influence us a lot, to a great extent, but not to the extent of making a moral decision. That is my point. And why do I say this? I say this because there's a big confusion in this field. There are people saying that we don't have to use certain instruments in church, in worship, for example, because that will defile, it will contaminate our worship, because the instruments are made in, I don't know, Africa, for example, and they were offered to voodoo, things like that. But if our piano comes from France, oh, that's okay. We don't know who made the piano. We don't know if they were Christian or, I don't know, dog breeders, but because it comes from Europe, it's okay. That type of reasoning is hurting the church. It's very simplistic, and it's not as easy as it looks like. So my point is, according to the Bible, music has an influence. Yes, it has a big influence, and we have to be careful. Elijah White says, careful with the veins of the soul, right? We have to be careful about selecting music that will be beneficial, that will help us to connect with God. 1 Corinthians 10:31. Eat or drink, whatever you do, music included, do it for the glory of God. I don't want to listen to music that will not connect me to God, or I don't want to allow my children to be exposed to music that will be detrimental to their choices or moral growth, right, or spiritual growth. So that being said, it has a big influence. We have to be careful not to blame the music for our moral choices, because music has a limit, which is my conscience. That is what I meant by it has a big influence. We have to be careful. We have to be selective. Yes, very much. But we cannot blame music for decisions that we make. It's not that all of a sudden, because I'm listening to this music and the person that built that drum is spiritist, now I will be spiritist as well because of the music. You know what I mean? That's going far beyond reality and far beyond the Word of God. Yes.
Dr. Brown.